Good morning, everybody. I'm Oklasoft, and this is Randy. Hey, Randy. Say hello. Randy is an Australian Shepherd and a Golden Retriever. Half Golden Retriever, half Australian. What's up, Green? What up, dude? I was just killing time till somebody got on the chat. Morning, buddy. You already working? Already at work this morning or what? Oh, cool. We got the Cyber Slick tires. I do. If I remember correctly, these are pretty good. Let's see how they compare to the standard tires. Oops. Oh, Alright, you gotta be careful. It's a little safer for him, but he's kind of, you call it, gets into stuff at certain times of day, and then other times of day he's ready to just chill. Good morning, brother. Yeah, I just got the news this morning that my grandpa passed away overnight, but it's been like months and months coming, so we knew he's had cancer for about 6 months or more, and they told us he'd have like 6 months to live about 8 months ago. So Might have a delay in the stream might be delayed. You replied or if it said something, I might not see it. Ah, you bastard. Oh, really? Right at the end. Damn. Oh, there, I saw your reply finally. I'm doing good, man. Yeah, like, my mom was telling me, I knew last night that he was gonna pass away overnight, but he's been declining for months and months, and in hospice and stuff. So I think we're kind of relieved in a way. Like, it's sad that he's dead now, but I'm kind of relieved for my mom because she's in Houston, but she's been going back and forth to Alabama. He's in Alabama, so she's been driving up there like every week, and then going back to Houston to go take care of her job. But then, because his wife is currently undergoing, or she's like got dementia. So I don't know if you've got elderly people in your family who've ever dealt with dementia, but she's basically already gone too. But like, it's much worse because she's still alive, but her mind is gone, and so she hasn't even been able to, like, his actual wife hasn't understood what's going on the last 6 months to even be able to take care of him or anything, because she's herself is in bad shape. But so I think my mom's relieved. I'm relieved for my mom that we can finally set up the funeral arrangements and get everything, like, get it started, have his funeral. But thank you, man. I appreciate it, Grant. I'm holding up good. I knew, like, I knew last night when I went to sleep, my mom had told me his heart rate was in the 30s, and I knew I was gonna wake up and to that news this morning. So thank you, dude. I appreciate it. It's weird when you have family members pass away, like a grandparent, because when I was younger, it didn't. It's strange how you the news of death, like, affects you at various times in your life, but it's like I've been surprised at how I'm able to not be emotional at for different people that have passed away in my life. But like, also sometimes it'll just hit, like it just hit me last night. My grandpa passing away. I was like, it just kind of all of a sudden hits you. It's like you don't necessarily, like, aren't really aware of it, of your emotions about that kind of thing, until the moment is there. Thanks, bro. Rest in peace. Yes, indeed. He had a good run. He was 80. You know, he was married. That was his third wife, or he's on his third wife. So, he had a good run. You know what I mean? He had a good life, and got to do and see all kind of cool shit. So he was a real one. I'm gonna miss him. He used to work on the mainframes for forgot what company back in the day, but he was like he would operate punch cards on these mainframe computers back in the 60s. And they would send them out all over the country, the South, to install these things. And they were computers of some sort. I don't know what they did, but I know they had punch cards. So what's your work week like, Green? How's the office? Dude, I didn't even know it was Friday today. Like, I woke up and my girl was like, I was like, what is it, Thursday? She's like, nah, it's Friday. I'm like, damn. I guess that's what happens when you don't go to work. Been a busy week, huh? Hell yeah. Shit, that's good though. That's good that it's Friday then. I know that's right. I remember that feeling, like being at the office on Friday, putting in work all week and being like, all right, we made it to the weekend. We have the weekend to recover. And then I would always like not be rested or not rest myself up enough over the weekend. Like I would never feel quite rested for Monday. When I was working IT, it was like week after week. I was like, all right, next weekend or by next week, I'll feel like I'm caught up. And I never would. I was always like wanting the weekend to last a little longer. So I was like, all right, the trick is to try to get the weekend, but just for every day. How do I get my daily weekdays to resemble the weekend? My solution's been to do what I'm doing here. Just refuse to go to work. No, I'm just kidding. It's you're right, it always goes. It's like it'll never be long enough. Yeah. Yeah, dude, you're lucky. Like if you got that good job, like I tried to tell my little brother. My little brother's probably like around your age or something, and I was telling him like when he got hired at my old company, I was like, "All right, dude." Because at first he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna quit this job within this amount of time. I'm not gonna stay here." And I was like, "Bro, just give it a chance." I was like, "Give it a chance for a little while, and then see what else is out there before you say this job sucks." or that you're gonna do something else, because the place he's at is a really great company to work for, and like I know that, and I have worked at shitty companies as well, so I was trying to like, you know, it's like, but when he doesn't have any experience, so he doesn't know what he's got necessarily, so I made sure to explain to him that he's in a privileged, like a role that most people would be lucky to be in, so like don't take it for granted while you got it. That's what I told him. And he's not. I'm glad to see that he's like doing I'm so proud of him, man. Like he basically is learning Python, and or he learned bits of Python and bits of code so that he could give them or help them improve their software. Like he basically learned so that he could work on stuff that's needed to be worked on for a long time, but companies will have software made and then they'll just like use it for a decade and then nobody will rewrite it, you know, stuff like that. But most companies can benefit from having like their software tweaked. And so people that actually can do that, it's like, so in other words, since he's making himself much more valuable than I was there, because if he's contributing to their code base and writing software for them, then he's going to be making himself more valuable. Whereas me, I was just handling, you know, like IT tickets and doing normal IT stuff. So although I was valued there, like, you know, they could get other people to like replace me. Yeah, man, I'm fucking proud of him. Like the shit he's working on now, I know what it is, but I know like he's into the details now that I'm just like, oh wow, I see you're you know, you're still doing this and that for them, and like if he makes himself valuable to them, he can go to a different company. Obviously, you know that, like he can have a little bidding war when he is finally ready to change companies. I had an interesting thought this morning. I was making the thumbnail for the stream, or trying to make a thumbnail, and I was like, I was thinking about thinking, like, you know, thinking about how I think, so the act of thinking itself, and I realized like this morning, I was like, okay, there is several like things I could do to make this thumbnail like this, and then there's several like techniques and pieces of software I could pull out of the cabinet right now, and I was like thinking, you know, I could probably make the thumbnail X, Y, or Z. I could make it really awesome if I put in a little work and this and that, and all these thoughts are running through my head, and that's when you realize like the output of work that I do in the day is far, far less than what I actually could do if I only organized my thoughts and like sustained my focus for a long enough time to do these things. So I was altering the thumbnail in GIMP, in the software application GIMP this morning, and I was just thinking like, I was like, well, there's about 6 commands that I don't know in this program that would make it a lot easier for me to work on these thumbnails, but I'm gonna have to pull out the documentation and find out the commands I don't know and learn them. And it's just one of those things where it hits you, how you're like, you realize how much it's like there's a lot of complicated tasks that I could pull off throughout the day that I don't, because it's just too much back and forth bullshit. Like, but there's times when you realize like you're on your computer and you're like, you know, I could put all these things together. I could just sustain my focus and concentration. It's always like your energy concentration that gives out, or in my case it is like, because I was just thinking about like what, you know, what are the steps that people go through to make a channel successful or a thumbnail successful. Why, you know, obviously, like, I know that, for example, the thumbnail that I threw out this morning, it's kind of crappy, it's lazy, because I used to be a lot better at Photoshop as well, but like, I don't have Photoshop, I've got GIMP, and I'm learning GIMP, but I don't have the vast, like, knowledge of all the functions in GIMP like I did for Photoshop back in the day. So you know how, like, the more familiar you are with the piece of software, your workflow gets exponentially faster, and then there's a point you hit where, like, when I get up in the morning and click all the shit I need to click on for this stream to work, it's basically like a already laid out for me. Like, I don't have to do, I've already laid out the path, and I just click, and everything opens up in the morning. So I've laid a path for to make that little struggle easier to get all the software working every day. So then it's like, all right, now I can pull open a stream and have it look halfway decent because I'm following my rubric. I'm following the rules that I laid down last time, right? And I got to realizing, like, that's really what every task that I'm doing on the computer is about, like, having just enough knowledge of how something works to make use of software, get the result you want. And so, like, in this case, I've got like a real easy way to stream every morning, a couple of clicks I press. But it took a month or two to, like, dial all that shit in, though. It was all trial and error. This didn't work, that didn't work. Day after day, time, little this time, that time, and then it all adds up. But saving your settings on a piece of software is like, it's like having a free memory. It's like not having to relearn things. And I know in my case, those little time saver steps that make it so I don't have to relearn, like, reinvent the wheel every single day, that's how I start, like, making progress in something. It's like a previously difficult part of it is now trivial, so we can focus our efforts elsewhere. I'm sure you know what I'm trying to say with my rambling, but no, I say all that because I was thinking about, like, man, I could make a really kick-ass thumbnail if I just knew this, like, if I just knew a few more pieces of information, I could make a better product. If I knew a little more here, I could make that better. But then I have to remember, it's like, are the things that I'm honing and focusing my energy on, like, is it all going toward a cohesive goal, or is it all just scatter shots of energy? This part of the level reminds me of 1080 snowboarding. Sometimes you get going so fast on this game, it doesn't even, it seems like it doesn't even make sense, like how the game gets you up to like these insane velocities, and like, damn. That's one thing I will say about Mario Kart 8 is like the physics is so good in this game. I feel like they really nailed it with the physics engine. Like, it feels so natural. Just all the like the weight of the part and the braking and stuff. It just all feels like they really dialed it in properly. To do a successful thumbnail for the algorithm, you have to do the Zoe face with the mouth agape and have wacky clickbait like beating Mario Kart while the cops are outside. Dude, I think absolutely right. You know? Yeah, the first issue I've got is my teeth. Like, my teeth are basically all gone, which I'm not tripping. Like, I'm not really that embarrassed about, otherwise I wouldn't be streaming, but it is embarrassing if I have to like show my teeth to people like up close though, because they're really fucked up. Like, I lost all my enamel in my 20s from soda and other bad habits, but yeah, you're right. Like, no, you're absolutely right about that look on the thumbnail, like that look on their face. See, that's one thing I think I know. I think I know intuitively like what facial expressions work and draw people in as well. Like, you're right, because I know what I click on, and you can kind of be aware of the psychology of your own self while you're clicking on these clickbait thumbnails, right? But yeah, you're right. It's a certain type of like, I can't resist to the thumbnail. Like, you're right. Like, those things you just mentioned. Like, who wouldn't click on that? Zoomer audience. Wait, what? You'll attract a Zoomer audience with what? What do you mean? Oh, you mean with like uh maxing out the thumbnail possibilities, you mean? Thumbnail maxing? I watched Asmongold yesterday, and he was we watched that video by Shoe on Head, and where she talks about hag maxing. It's like this new term that the fucking Zoomers came up with, where you like date older women that are financially stable and can take care of the bills and shit. It's called hag maxing. Zoomer lingo is fucking hilarious. But yeah, and I found out, like, once I destroyed my teeth in my younger adulthood, like, once I found out that I needed to get them replaced, that they're a total loss. You know, it's like 50 to 100 grand to get your teeth like redone properly. Like, if I wanted to go get like a legit set of implants, like, done correctly, that isn't gonna give me any problems down the line, man, it would cost $100,000 to get that done. You need like a team of oral surgeons to build it for you and measure your mouth and measure your bite. It's a whole thing. It's a whole lot of bullshit you got to deal with to get your teeth fixed and replaced. So take care of your enamel while you're young. And shit, I even had good like I had good oral hygiene when I was a kid too. When I was younger, but then I just how do you how do I attract hag maxing girlfriend asking for a friend? The key, and this is a total joke. I love my girl. I love her to death. She's a little older than me, but we're like close enough in age where it's not really like she's not like an old lady to me or anything. But um, in truth though, like some people just I don't know. Like I've been attracted to older women in my life. Like it's just some people. I don't think you can really pick though. I think you'll just find yourself in those relationships if that's who you're attracted to. But like in my case, like I didn't find my girl from dating apps or anything like that. I just randomly met her at an actual wedding, like organically in real life. Here's the key to meeting somebody though. The key to meeting your soulmate is you can't be looking for your soulmate. So, like if you're out looking for the one, you won't find them. You gotta be not looking for the one, and then you will find them. That's what happened to me. Honestly, I wasn't in a romantic relationship of any kind for like maybe like 5 years at one point. I had like a really bad one, like a fucked up thing happen, and so I didn't go out with anybody, date anybody, or for like 5 years or more. But I was also taking medication throughout that time that like removed or reduced a lot of my sex drive. So I will say that and I was aware that was the case, so I was cool with it. But yeah, just the word hag maxing is hilarious. Like putting maxing on the end of every activity that people grind at is such a Zoomer like sense of humor thing. Asking for a friend. Dude, love bug, you're fucking hilarious. Hell, I got 20 years older. Gilf corn has scrambled my brain. Right? It will. It'll. Oh yeah, corn. It'll fuck you up. You have to. Well, like I don't even look at it anymore, like I did when I was younger. It probably has to do with age, though. I would think that's probably an age thing. Or you know when you're talking about corn though, like that's also a generational thing. Like people that are my generation, which is like millennials. Yeah, we had the internet and all that, but like the generation before me, they didn't really have the internet at all. So it's like a whole different. It's like the floodgates opened up once internet, P was a thing that changed everything. Oh. I can never catch that Donkey Kong. You don't deserve to Donkey Kong. Have you guys seen a YouTuber named Retro Bird? Channel called Retro Bird. It's fucking hilarious. It's a game channel, but it's a little like different. I don't know how to describe it. Gilf corn. Jesus. I was thinking of sponsors. I was like, you know what? This company, Hidden Hills, or no. This company that makes this vape, they're called 50 Bar. I had to drive 45 miles round trip yesterday to buy that. To go buy a nicotine vape in my town, and I was thinking, if it's that hard to go buy this product here, I wonder if I could get them to sponsor my stream, and then I could just smoke their vapes on all my streams. Be a natural partnership. Would y'all be down for some Majora's Mask after this? Love Bug or Green? I think you guys are the only two that are really like chatting. Yeah. But yeah, Love Bug. Best advice, man, for women is just be yourself. Be you. Always be you. And if they're worth your time, if they're worth it, they'll be into you. But it's always better when you're not trying, if that makes sense, when it comes to romance. I think. Like, it always seems to be better if you're not, like, not forcing it, you know? You'll meet somebody just by being out and about and living life. You'll love my Jeffrey Dahmer vibe. Oh, jeez, man. Dahmer. If you want to talk about, like, most fucked up serial killers, I got one for you. His name is Edmund Kemper. Here, I'll pull him up. Let's see. Old browser here. This guy right here. Edmund Kemper. American serial killer convicted of murdering 7 women and 1 girl between May of 72 and April of 73. He murdered his paternal grandparents, nicknamed the co-ed killer. Most of his non-familial victims were female college students hitchhiking in the vicinity of Santa Cruz County. This dude is fucking twisted, man. There's like a whole documentary. Yeah, he was a rascal. You could say that again. He was a rascal. Yeah, that motherfucker was definitely a rascal. And he's like 7 feet tall. That was like the X factor that made it really like bizarre, is that he's just gigantic human being. And so the way he had to like I guess pick these girls up by trying to like seduce them more or less, or like strolling by in his car just being a creep. But apparently he was able to, like, he was friends with the police and everything. This was back in the 70s. And so the cops didn't even believe he was the suspect at first. They were like, oh no, that's old Ed. Nah, he wouldn't hurt a fly. They're like, no, seriously, this guy's just committed or admitted to killing a bunch of people. Cops are like, nah, not Ed. I think the guy himself was like confessing, and the cops were like, no, you didn't do this. No! Wow. Never, the bomb, like the bomb power up in this game, never understand. It always either blows up on me, like, or blows up 6 people behind me. Yeah, he looked like a white shack. Dude. Yeah, apparently this guy was just... he had a big old fucking, like, you know, Mercury Plymouth Voyager or some shit, and was driving around Santa Clara County or wherever out there in Cali, and he's like, just, yeah, they said I think he got like 8 women over the course of a year, but he was buddies with all the local police. Like he would hang out at the cop bars, and was like, I think they said he always wanted to be on the force. They wouldn't let him because of his size. Like he was too big to be a cop. Which is kind of weird. You think the police would be down to hire a gigantic person? Like hire some giant officer? I would if I was the police department. I'd hire like the biggest people I could find. Yeah, Ed Kemper's one I just learned about like earlier this year. I guess I just never heard of him. But I used to have a book. It was like, you know, true crime, uh, real stories or real crimes or something, and it was like basically a compendium of American serial killers. It had Gacy, it had Ted Bundy in there, it had probably Charles Manson was in there, but some of the other like well-known American psychos. But it never had Edmund Kemper in there. I would have remembered that guy. Oh. Yeah, he certainly was a rascal, though. That's good. That's a good word. They were like, "Oh, Ed. Oh, Ed. He's always up to. He's always getting into stuff." They're like, he disemboweled and murdered 17 people. Oh, Ed. Will you ever learn? Need a movie based on a killer who murdered a family living in a rural farm in Europe, hid in their attic, and they could even hear him moving around. Ooh. Yeah, that's fucked up. Damn. My controller is spazzing out. Hold on, let me switch over to the old Switch Pro controller number 1 here. Damn, that's pretty dark though. So we're talking about a serial killer in Europe that moved into like a rural farmhouse family's attic, and I guess presumably, what did he like, stalk them or like crept on them while they're, or waited for the right time, I guess, to strike? I don't know. That's fucked up. It's pretty dark, man. In Europe, huh? When was that? Yeah. Aw. Oh no, I thought that was the last lap.
Whoa.
Man, I always get hit by a red shell right at the end. It said, family found his footprints leading from the forest. Oh, I'm gonna read this whole comment. Hold on. Oh, damn it. The family found his footprints leading from the forest in a foreign newspaper, but never called the police to live with the bodies for a couple days before leaving around the early 1900s. Ooh, man, that's chilling. Yeah, that's... Let's go to a different course real fast. Damn. And you know what? Me and my girl were watching... We watched a bunch of cold case files and forensic files and stuff like that. But there was like a... I think it was last month where we basically just watched... We like binge watched cold case files for like a week or two. And... we watched hundreds of murder cases, like being picked apart, and not just like regular murder cases, but cold cases that have been cold for 20 years, which is even more. It's really rare for those to get solved, and like all of these were cases like that had been solved. And there's a huge amount, there's like a huge uptick in crimes that got solved after they discovered DNA and it was on the books for the first time, like in a criminal case. This was in the 80s, but you notice like before DNA was really a tool that the law enforcement had to put people away for murder, there was a lot more just mysterious killings, let's say, than there is nowadays. Like there was a lot of people just up and vanished back before they had DNA, and I think there was like, you had like generations of basically of murderers, of people that knew that these crimes were not like solvable back then, or they weren't easy to solve back then, or likely to be solved. But then, you know, as soon as you have DNA becoming like a tool for law enforcement, I mean, they're still going back to this day and solving cases that people think they've gotten away with. But just the amount of like murders that took place before DNA was available, it's like we'll never know. You know, a lot of those things will never be solved, and you just never know. But there's probably a lot more people out there with the capacity for murder than we like to think, because there was a lot more of it going on before when people were still getting away with it. Oh, damn, almost got it. Almost made it. Now people express those urges in Battlefield, right? Or like video games in general, right? We express our urge to fight and aggress, you know? So we've got Grand Theft Auto for that. That really does make sense that like we do use video games as a proxy for violence and aggression. It's kind of probably a good thing, you know? Damn, dude. Last lap. Damn. The hell of a traffic jam there. Sometimes if you don't have a character that has like that high top speed, I think Yoshi's got like a medium top speed. I'll get like overtaken at the very end of the race. Why go postal at work when you can just stomp Goombas? For real, yo. And it's cleaner when you commit violence in a video game. You don't, it's less cleanup. Your points get totaled for you automatically. You don't have to figure that shit out. I've always been fascinated by game systems and games, like even as like a little kid, and I think I realized that like what I really like about video games is the fact that it's a like lower resolution like copy of the real world. It's like a small, fully functional representation of some part of reality. It's like a little self-contained machine. But I've always been fascinated with games because I can wrap my head around the entire world in the game. Like I can understand what's going on in all of the game rather than just like the real world where you can never really have total mastery over all of reality, but you can have total mastery over the world of a video game. I think that's kind of cool. And you can know all about it as well, like you can have complete knowledge. That ain't fair. Ah. I'm just getting Goomba raped at the very end of this. God. What game would I like to live in? Man, that's a good question. Damn. Well, I think there's a bunch of games that I would like to live in for different reasons at different times, but if I had to like pick one game, that is such a good question, because it's like part of me wants to say something like Grand Theft Auto 5 or GTA 5 or Breath of the Wild or something that has like a relatively fleshed out world, but I'm trying to think like what I think maybe Star Fox would be a fun world to live in. If I'm sure you'd have to like fill in the details or fill in the rest of the details with like, I know like with Star Fox 64 they had created sort of a little bit of a canon or like a storyline there, and so they had to write little backstories for the characters, Fox and Peppy, and like fleshed in the world. And I remember when I was younger thinking about that, like hey, we can just kind of make up a new backstory for these characters because their world is it's only defined by like the video game, so there's a lot of room for interpretation. I'm gonna say Ocarina of Time, just because I love the world so much, and I'd love to physically be inside that world just for a little while to. And I also feel like I've played the Ocarina so much that I kind of know what it would feel like being in that world. But the question is, like, would you have to obey the rules? Or would you be like another character in that game, or would you be the main character? Make yourself an OC on the an OG on the Star Fox team. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would try to pick some other kind of animal that I haven't used yet on Star Fox, like some kind of like a marmot or a weasel or something. Or a dog. I guess they have Star Wolf. He's kind of a dog. But yeah, on Star Fox, like there's the player versus player, like the where you get out of your ship and there's a little death match in Star Fox. And I noticed that like they had to draw character models for Falco and Star Fox to be out of their ship. But you can tell how much like less time they put into that part of the game than the main game. Sean Land watching YouTube, Rosalina. Sean Mario Land. I think Sean Mario Land is like a bot. Those words you just typed those are just keywords. You seen a Fox in Space YouTube video? And is it like an old video where they show like they put an animal in space, or is this a modern thing? This track that I'm on, or this cup that I'm on right here, really love these levels. Bangkok Rush, and there's another Tokyo one or another Japan one in this cup. It's awesome. Like an Adult Swim take on Star Fox from 5 years ago, hand drawn and made to look like lost media of a Kart. Oh yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's made, yeah, it's made to look like lost media. It's somebody else made it, but it's supposed to look like it came from the original authors and came from back then. I need to check that out then. What is it? Star Fox on YouTube, Fox in Space. It makes sense that they would call it Fox in Space, because you're think about that when you're playing Star Fox, you're like, this doesn't make any sense. There's a bunch of chickens and cows and falcon in the cockpit of a spaceship. Whatever. Do you have your own YouTube channel, Lovebug? Or do you make any of your own content, social media or anything? I was just curious because you're pretty hilarious. Like, you always crack me up. That's why I was like thinking you might be maybe you put out your own shit. They made a second episode like 5 years after their first episode, so I never checked it out. Yeah, it's probably on YouTube. I'm sure we can. I do know, like, I'm sure I've seen it at one time, like Fox in Space. Now that you're mentioning it, I know I've seen a parody of Star Fox. It sounds like what you described. Nope, thought about it, but never pulled the trigger. You will. You'll do it. I mean, you'll eventually do it, I bet. It's mainly got to be like I guess maybe like your schedule, your day-to-day schedule's got to line up. It's not really about, like, for me, it wasn't about, is this the right time in my life to have be getting on and stuff. It's like are the rest of my family members here all day? Are they going to be annoyed that I'm talking to my computer for 5 hours a day? You know what I mean? I gotta, so like if I had family members and people at the house all day, it wouldn't be as, it's not as much fun to stream when there's people home, because like it can be embarrassing to be yourself in front of another audience, like in front of your family. You don't necessarily want them to see you doing your thing. I did the same thing, and I thought about it, and finally, I actually did. I had a channel back in 2018 where I was making like real videos, like, or just making uploading like once a week but it was a little bit different, like, political climate at that time, and I don't know, like, my channel actually got deleted. I've had YouTube remove my old channel. There was an issue back at the time, some hot button issue. It was like politics, and I gave my 2 cents on it, and I had a couple of videos where I just gave my opinion about politics, and this was like in 2018, which was a bad idea from the start. Like, I realized, like, oh, I don't ever want to be involved in politics on the internet in any capacity. But YouTube deleted my channel after like 5 uploads, and I didn't have hardly any subscribers. I had gotten a few subs from talking about a few an area that I had like an expertise in, which is drug pharmacology, the pharmacodynamics of opioids. So I was doing videos about that subject, and I had gathered a small audience, and then I gave my political opinions on some other videos. I had my channel just nuked by YouTube. Nah, it was nothing like racist or anything. It was So this was at the time when Colin Kaepernick, the NFL player, was in the news, and he was talking about basically like Colin Kaepernick is like the most white bread, like dude's been raised with the silver spoon in his mouth. And you know, like, but anyway, this is at the time when you had a lot of that shit going on, and Colin Kaepernick was like trying to speak out against the NFL and some shit, talking about like he was basically trying to be like a social justice hero or martyr, and he was playing the race card, and I just said what I thought about it. I just said that I thought it was, I think it's interesting that you have a guy that was like adopted by a rich white family is going to grow dreadlocks and come out of the gate once he's in the NFL saying that, oh, we need to do better, this and that. So I just said what I thought about it, and my channel was gone. And I was like, it's like not that even many people could have seen it. So at the time I was like, well, if I do go get back on YouTube, it'll have to be, I'll have to talk about shit that doesn't have any ability to get pulled into politics. But I think what it was though back then, that was like 6 years ago. So they would delete small channels that didn't have the correct opinion, but the big channels would stay up. And so you had people didn't really realize how much censorship was going on, because it was just shadow banning people and banning small creators, deleting small creators before they got a chance to, you know, pop off. And so they would leave the big, like, you know, you have the big political channels or whatever 6 years ago. They would let the big ones remain, but the small ones that had the wrong opinion, delete. That's how they were doing that shit. Keyword. Right? 3, 2, yeah. No, I mean at this point, like if YouTube, if they, I don't think they wouldn't nuke this channel. Like I mean they might, but if they did, number one, it's not monetized at the moment, so there's nothing they can really take away from me except my audience, like this, you know, the small group of people that have been watching me. But if you've got other socials, they can find me again in 2 seconds, you know, so it's like, but if you're monetized on YouTube, then they got you by the balls, and you do have to play by their rules, no matter what, if you like their rules or not. It's like, if you're making money on their platform, unfortunately, that's really how it is. It's like, if you're making money on somebody's platform, you're playing by their rules. Controller is dead. OG controller. This 8-bit dough shows up as an Xbox One controller. Need alternative to YouTube. Time to dust off your resume. Right. Well, Twitch seems promising, but I don't know. I don't like. I'm mainly on YouTube because there's so much other shit that I like to watch on YouTube that's not anything to do with video games or streaming. Like, I guess it's one thing I've never like gone on a platform, and I guess I have, but I'm trying to think. When you guys browse for a live streamer, like what are you doing? Are you just typing in the game you want to play, or are you just looking at like a list of live feeds that might look interesting. Is it? I don't know. Is it based on the title or the thumbnail, or is it just like the category of game? Alright, I'm gonna try to win this race. I've been sucking. I'm gonna actually try to come in first. He said, I just typed in video game live stream on YouTube and now I have different small creators in my feed. That's badass. See, when I started this, I had no idea how anybody's gonna search for me. No real goals in mind, except the only goal I had in mind was be available to stream a lot. Like, make myself available as a streamer. Like have a variety of games I'm playing, obviously, but the games I wasn't even like necessarily worried about what game or how to play the game or any of that. I was just like, I'll find a game to play. That'll happen naturally. It's more of like, can I sit on here for a few months and see, you know, like vibe check everything, see how it feels. It's great. Like, I love getting on here in the morning, even if nobody's on yet. It's just like fun knowing that others are gonna join me. And as someone can be a little antisocial in real life, like I can be someone who doesn't necessarily want to mingle all the time, you know? I actually, believe it or not, I had a YouTube channel in 2008 as well. But that channel was not deleted. I just lost it. And I had videos that were getting a lot of views because it was like I was the only person back then making the type of videos. I was doing like guitar covers of a band 311. I was like showing people how to play their songs. I remember putting those videos on YouTube around 09, and a shitload of people watched them because there just wasn't that much content back then. And I lost that account. Like, I lost the ability to log into that account, so I lost access to it years ago. But I always thought about that. I was like, man, I was able to build up a small audience in a channel years and years ago. And then I thought about the time I had sat and not done anything, and I was like, it's, you know, it sucks to be like, to know that I was making YouTube videos only a couple years after the platform started, and I probably could have just kept doing that to some capacity for all these years and been like, you know, been way more successful nowadays. But then I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, whenever there's something in life that you just want to do, just do it. As long as it's feasible and it's not gonna, you know, hurt anybody. Like, it seems like a feasible idea, just fucking do it. Just go for it. And I figured that with this type of thing right here, this live streaming, that it's more about endurance anyway. Like, You know, I know I'm not going to have anything necessarily riveting to say or exciting to talk about or the best gameplay or any of that shit. So there's got to be like some type of longevity to your desire to sit there and stream and game. Like you just got to be in it for the long haul, I think. And the older I get, the less I want to be part of anything to do really with corporate America. Like it's gross the way they take advantage of people. And I'm gonna be slaving away and grinding away. I might as well grind away for something that I want to do. That's one thing I will say is that like if you're at a company and you don't give a shit about what they make or what that company does, and just doesn't matter to you, then probably then find another line of work. Find a place that's doing something that you feel like is a net plus for humanity. I can tell you one thing that's kind of fucked up about my generation going into now is that since I went to high school, or I graduated high school, it's going on 20 years now. So think about that. I've been out of high school for 20 years, and then what was cool, like what was in style when I was that age is like totally different now. The music that like we were into back then, people used to want to form bands and go out and play music, and like that was a viable career path when I was a kid. But as I've gotten older, the idea of like starting a band and touring and making money, it's very difficult to make money as a touring musician now. So it's like in the last 20 years, one of the things that I thought would be like a staple option for a career is like playing music. Something I've done professionally, and I used to do professionally. It's like the type of music that I love or that I was into, that's not even cool anymore. Nobody even listens to rock like that anymore. It's like culture's changed to the point where like a lot of the stuff that I like, those guitars on my wall, those were all like when I was a kid, those were tools for playing shows. Like now I'll always love electric guitar, but like I have a feeling that I probably won't play those on too many stages going forward. Like that, in other words, there used to be like live music when I was younger. It was a big component even of like smaller towns. You'd have like a local music scene, and you'd have scene kids, and you'd have kids that are in bands and kids that are making music. And I know they still have that nowadays, but it's way different. Like the things that kids want to get into now are totally different. Drop them pants and clap them cheeks. Hell yeah. Shit, I've been knowing I was gonna have to do that at some point. Right? No, I started looking at the numbers. Like I've investigated like the numbers you need, the view numbers you need to start making. Like let's say you're just gonna get like let YouTube themselves pay you. You need gigantic numbers to make money from YouTube. Like what is it? 1 million? I think they said 1 million. Or no, I'm sorry. $1 per 1,000 views. So like that's supposedly like a good barometer for allow you to figure out what creators are pulling in from their channels. Like they got 1,000,000 views, they probably made $1,000 on those 1,000,000 views on average. And so you need like a titanic number of views and engagement to start pulling in like serious money from YouTube. So it's obviously like if you're a small channel, I don't think the YouTube paycheck is the play. It's really the merch and Patreon or tips, you know, subscribers and thanks and tips and all that stuff. That's what I've seen. All these smaller creators, that's how they monetize themselves. They just set up shop at a relatively low number of subscribers, and they seem to be able to exist in that like 10 to 100,000 subscriber zone. But no, for me to get any type of real views, love bug, I would need to make or produce content, like actually make a scripted, produced video that with, you know, with a well thought out script, something. That's the other thing is like, you know, you want to have something to say. Like, but it's like when I get on and stream, I don't really have anything like profound to talk about necessarily. Yeah, it's best to have rewatchable videos, exactly. Right, and a lot of these streams, like the way they go, depending on how I'm interacting or how I'm playing or what's going on, some of these live streams are like not, you know, they're not worth video on demand status. You wouldn't want to go back and watch them, but some of them you would, depending on, you know, just depending on how we're playing or how focused I am. All right, I'm gonna do one more Mario Kart Cup, and then I think we'll change the game. I'll take a short breather and change the game. First video essay. You know, was thinking of, I've already got the footage archived for an Ocarina of Time 3D video essay, but when I looked back at it, it's just like a regular playthrough of Ocarina, and the way I recorded it, it's like slightly under. It's not as good a quality as like a normal, the normal stream quality I've been getting, so I might have to go back and recapture that footage. But I was gonna do Ocarina just because how near and dear to my heart it is, but man, so many, it's like there's already so many videos, there's already so many retrospectives on Ocarina that if you make one, it's got to be like amazing for people to care. Yeah, dude. I'm sure it's on there, me getting frustrated, fucking pissed. Nintendo games can really piss you off. But yeah, I would say Zelda's great. Anything Zelda is great because it's so popular that it's gonna get like X amount of attention. So if I do an Ocarina retrospective essay, like I want to make sure that I have something. I've watched all the ones that are out there and they're amazing, so I want to make sure I have something like I just want a really good script, because I know that that's what people's impression of these essays is really like how good of a writer you are really is going to come through in that video essay. And so like I'm trying to think who are some of the best out there. What's his name? Let me pull this up real fast. I don't know why I can't remember his name. But he's got like Nintendo. He's got a bunch of Nintendo retrospectives. King K, King K. Like so, this dude is what I would consider the goat on YouTube for video retrospectives. They're good, man. But like, it's a combination of his writing is like 8 out of 10. I'd say his writing is an eight, maybe an 8.5 out of 10. But it's his voice and his narration style and his speaking style that it's also the pacing. Like there's the thing about pacing that a speaker is going to do naturally when they're delivering a script, but it's kind of like the way you deliver the lines is just as important as the actual lines. But yeah, I was thinking like, and last year would have been a perfect time to strike. I'm a little late on the draw because it was like the 25th anniversary of Ocarina about this time last year, and I remember I was gathering the footage then, and I was thinking, I'm not gonna have this out in time to capitalize on the current trendiness of Ocarina. Ocarina will trend at times, but it's an evergreen game so far. Like it's always popular and it's always going to have some type of audience. But I definitely want to make retrospectives on big games that people have already got retrospectives on, but I want to offer, like, I want to make that video essay who where the people, like, after they watch it, they're like, damn. When somebody delivers it with real conviction and you can tell, like, oh man, this person really does care about that game, or they give you some type of insight about the game that really drives home, like, why it's such a special memory. Or even who is he? My retro life. So like this guy, let me see, this guy right here, he's actually from Houston as well. I figured that out by watching his content. I could tell he's grew up in the same place I did, but this kid has got like an entire lifetime of archived footage from his family, and it's a lot of gaming stuff, a lot of early Nintendo stuff, that like his family getting all the systems and all the games for Christmas, and his dad was a huge gamer. His dad's, who's passed away, is like one of the characters in these videos, but he's telling his life story through the lens of video games. And he's got footage. It's actually kind of chilling because this kid, or this guy I should say, has got footage of his deceased father, and it's so many memories, and there's such like personal, touching stories that he tells about like his parents getting a divorce and stuff in the middle of all this. It's all real shit, but the format is incredible because like he's talking about these things in his past, and he's got footage to show it, and it's like, it's not just a story anymore, it's real. But I think like what he's really, if he has a main point that he's making, it's that like it's showing you how video games are a vehicle for like basically people to come together. Like he's showing the story of his family told through the lens of the video games that were coming out in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. That's what the best ones will be like. It'll be like a personal account. But it'll have like a universal message in there of like togetherness, or the importance of, I'm trying to think, what was that one? Okay, and then there's one other video essay on Ocarina that's this is the GOAT essay. It's called, I know the word subtext is in it. Oh yeah, it's called Ocarina of Time, a Masterclass in Subtext. and this guy, like, this video, it's 5 years old, but it's like it's like a film. It's like a you know, it's got like the production values of like a real movie and stuff. But in that video essay, he made the I think he made the claim that there was like 3 underlying themes in Ocarina that I'd have to go back and like watch it to really coherently describe his thesis on the matter, but it's good. And let's see that video. How many views did that? This video got a shit ton of views. I know. Damn. Yeah, like you're saying, Green. It'll take a lot of practice and work. That's why I figured that it'd be good. Just the fact that I'm putting out any type of content is good for my just for my sense of like accomplishment on YouTube. It's just like, okay, well, at least I'm making something for people to watch. So I've got, you know, it feels better to be active. And, you know, like I might not be producing riveting long form video essays at all times, but at least I can have something mildly entertaining as well exist alongside that stuff while I'm working on it, you know? And I didn't realize that most like creators also streamed. I didn't know that till recently as well. Like the guys from My Life in Gaming, Corey and Try, like I didn't know that they were I guess most people live stream that make content. I didn't know that. I thought maybe they just released videos. Yeah, exactly. I get to talk with people like you, and like, you know, it's way better to be in discussion with the people than to try to have a concept that's in your head and not be interacting. It's like, because I get to interact with my audience in general, so like you know, I know I can make something entertaining and worth watching, because hell, I know like if you guys are mildly entertained by me just normally, then if I sit down and actually write something, I'll pull out some good points. I just have to sit down and think about my thoughts and what do I really think and how do I really feel. Sometimes you can't really access your true feelings necessarily when you want to. I'm 7th place. Embarrassing. Uh-huh. No. Damn, dude. Ruthless. Ah. When you got this? Oh. Damn it. How Mario is tied to Mussolini? Bruh. Or the development of Mario Odyssey. How oil prices in Syria and the development of Mario Odyssey are tied. Oh wait. Bruh. That's a clickbait title just in and of itself. I mean, you threw in WW2 regime. Mussolini. When I was in high school, me and my friends we would call each other like Mussolini and Stalin when one of us would be acting like a dick to the other one, or being like real too bossy, be like, hey there, all right Mussolini, let's dial it down a notch there, okay Stalin, you know what I mean? We would insult them by like calling them a dictator, like somebody's being a little too bossy, you know what I mean? Somebody did a video essay recently, and I'm forgetting who it was, but what their point was though is that all the Nintendo games that Miyamoto's kind of responsible for, that he uses the same concept for everything he makes, and it's the word walled garden kept coming up. Apparently Miyamoto is obsessed with creating little tiny recreations of the real world, like little tiny dioramas. That's how he has always approached game making, is that games are just like a little miniature diorama, basically. Like the graphics in Link's Awakening are a reflection of that. Oh, yeah, get him. Damn it, couldn't come in first. But yeah, that video Ocarina of Time, a masterclass in subtext. That's like that guy. That's obviously was an essay, like a really well written thesis on that game, and just converted into a video form. We need a Zelda game based on the concept art from the NES and SNES Zelda's 80s. Oh yeah, dude, I have. I'll bring it. I'll bring it on stream, but excuse me, I have a box, a wooden chest from the 80s, from like the late 80s. It's got Super Mario Brothers 3, got Zelda. It's got all these Nintendo graphics from exactly what you're describing, from that era, that late 80s, early 90s Nintendo art, where Link looks kind of like drawn like a child's storybook kind of thing, and it's got all like all the Mario Brothers 3. It's got like Wendy and Lemmy Koopa on it, and this is a box, like this is a chest, a toy box that it's in my attic at my mom's house in Texas. But I'll grab it next time I'm there. I'll probably be back in Houston this week. I'll get it and show y'all, but it has that artwork you're talking about, Lovebug. It's got that old Zelda. It's actually got a artwork of Zelda, like the old lady Zelda. Oh no, I can't see. Damn it. Little shit, Toad. Damn it. That little bastard, Toad. Always one step ahead of me. Oh, you can even look at a transcript. I forgot there's transcripts of these videos now. The name kami can be translated to gods or nature spirits, while the name Shinto literally translates to the way of the gods. The fox Miyamoto addresses at the Fushimi Inari Shrine is considered a messenger of the Inari god. So Miyamoto is like putting aspects of his Shintoism into these games. I read like half of what you typed just now, and I kind of understand what you said. Tanuki nuts. God. Said, surprised you didn't give Tanuki Mario giant nuts based on Shinto folklore to be more accurate. Yeah, he should have done that. Wow. Wow, man. See, Lovebug, you're fucking hilarious. Like, if you made a channel, guaranteed you'd have people tuning in just to hear the wild shit you say. How come gamers always have the best sense of humor, you know what I mean? Like, us, we always know what the funniest shit is. Ah! Oh no! Son of a bitch. Damn, dude. Shit. This level be trippy on mushrooms. I bet. Bet it would be. You know, I've got a cow, I've got a horse pasture directly outside my, my backyard. But if the neighbor, it depends on if they put a salt lick out for the horse or not. Because if they do, then you won't get mushrooms off of the patties. But if they don't put a salt lick out, you get mushrooms. Real magic mushrooms. Yeah. That was Rainbow Road? I wonder, was that the N64 Rainbow Road? Genuine Claude candy. Oh, where do they have, I think they sell them at like, they sell mushrooms at like the smoke shop nowadays. Like, I walked in there the other day to get one of these and I was like, damn, they got like mushroom chocolates you could just buy fucking over the counter now. I've been I've been taking mushrooms since I was a teenager. That shit I've had a lot of fun. I've tripped balls on mushrooms. Like gone all the way over the deep end. I think it's something everybody should experience though, if they have the mind, if their mind can handle it. Sydney Sprint, Mushroom Gorge, Engorged Mushroom, Mushroom Stream. I'm down. You probably wouldn't even know. I could probably take them and just do this normally, like act like nothing's wrong. It would be fun though. It would change my perception just enough to. Absolutely, it's definitely in the works. I just gotta procure gotta procure some material. Absolutely, I'm down. That's probably how I should write the video essay script. Honestly, is on mushrooms, because, like, seriously, because there's this album. There's a band called Neck Deep. They're like a pop punk band. They're pretty big, and the singer did an interview, like, on some podcast last month, and I watched it, and the album is amazing. It just came out earlier this year, and two of the songs that are really good on there, they asked him about. They're like, "Hey, what about this song called Step Outside?" And he's like, I wrote that. He's like, I was having writer's block this year, and we took some mushrooms, and he's like, I wrote both of those songs in one day while I was tripping. And they're like two of the best songs on the album. Might be a great way to come up with like a thesis. Ah! Damn it. Wow, I suck. I gotta pee real fast. Hey, Randy. Randy says hello, everybody. He just woke up. Woke up from his nap. Huh. He's such a good boy. It's gonna be awesome. How long do mushrooms last for? About 4 to 6 hours. So it's about 4.5 hour trip. Acid lasts a lot longer, but mushrooms and LSD are essentially the same class, or they're essentially the same chemical. Like LSD lasts about 3 times as long as mushrooms and can be more intense, but they're effectively the same thing. Yeah, 4 to 6 hours. If you've never done it before, I recommend. Hallucinogens are one of those things where the set and setting is very important. So you want to be with people that you trust for your first time, and you want to make sure that you're gonna handle it, because it's all a mind thing. It's all in your mind. But yeah, your perceptions are dramatically altered for hours and hours, and can be pretty intense. It can be an intense revelatory experience. Do it with the neighborhood drug dealer. I mean, if he's cool. Yeah, you want to be with people you trust, and you want to be somewhere safe for your first time, if it is your first time, because the things around you, people and things around you, will have a dramatic effect on your experience. I would generally say it's a pretty positive and safe experience overall for most people. Some people won't handle it good, but I think if you're the kind of person that's contemplating doing it to begin with, you're probably gonna like it, because it's the people that treat it as more of like a recreational, like party drug, those are the ones that end up having bad experiences, or I mean, because they can be conscious altering, so they have to be used with some level of care and respect. See if we can pull out first. Oh! Be honest. Not in a really long time. Not in forever and ever. I used to do some crazy shit. Never woken up naked in a cornfield, but I've been in a cornfield or two. Yeah, shrooms are more gentle. They're less, I don't know. They do feel like less intense on your body than acid. Let the dog in real fast. What's up, Aaron? Hello to Aaron. Join the stream. Mushroom soaked in LSD? Yeah, now you're talking. Now. I never actually done that, what you just said, but I have taken them together. Intense. Oh shit. Come on. I have dabbled and experienced all of that. I don't anymore, but yeah, I've experienced all of it actually, and yeah, it's all a dead end. I'd say that like amphetamines are good for some people. If you're somebody that's been like prescribed Adderall as a youngster and it works for you, That's basically what Adderall is. It's just amphetamine. But yeah, I've tried all that stuff, and I just cut it out of my life these days. It's just not worth my time. Being out in the rural area, you'll see there is like a meth problem out here with certain. It's like a certain like demographic, you could say. Usually found out in the country, in the heartland of America, you'll see like people that are into that. They got them out here. They've got tweakers out here for sure. I'm sure they got them in your area. Super soldier serum, right? I know. I'm trying to check off the list. Yeah, no, I've dabbled, and that would be my advice. Like so, I was a straight-laced kid going into college. You know, I'd smoke weed and stuff like that, but I didn't do anything else till I went to college, and then I got in deep with the drug culture out there in Louisiana, and I kind of had to find my way back to sanity. Come with the rock scene. Yeah, it's like, well, let's see. I graduated high school in 2003. Went off to LSU, Louisiana State University. I had a what is effectively a full ride scholarship. It was state tuition. It was paid for because my dad lives in that state, so I was able to claim in-state residency in Louisiana. And so like I started going to school there. I had no friends. I had friends, but from when I was a kid out there, but like we weren't really buds when I was older. And so for like 6 months I was out there, just couldn't, wasn't really like fitting in with everybody, and was kind of wanting to go home. Wasn't digging it. And then at some point I had a roommate who was we were kind of buddies, and we would play video games together. And one night he took me out to a party. We did some drinking, and did a couple of nights of that where we're like going out, binge drinking, smoking weed. And then I think like once I started going to parties out there, I wanted to be with the group of people that were like the cool kids. So I started doing drugs, and like one of the drugs that I did was Xanax or Valium, and those are called benzodiazepines. There's other drugs that are basically the same thing. You got Klonopin and Xanax, Valium, and Ativan and stuff like that. And but these drugs are basically powdered alcohol. They're basically pills that make you drunk, and that's what got me out there. I got hooked on benzos, and there was people out there doing oxys, snorting oxys, and just all kind of shit, all the drugs. But as I got deeper into the culture, and I wanted the friends. I wanted to make friends and be friends with everybody. So as I started getting more popular and my social cred was going up, I became an addict, and I was and still am an addict in many ways. But like at that time, I was addicted to Xanax, and I wouldn't remember most things I was doing. I wouldn't remember, so I would just be kind of blacked out for most of the day, and ended up getting in legal trouble, getting arrested for doing stupid shit. Because when you're also intoxicated, you'll break the law. And but I mean, long story short, I came back from LSU with like a massive drug addiction and newfound like vice. And it's one of those things that honestly, like, I wish I'd never had tried, because drugs feel good and they always will, and that's why people do them. But like, they absolutely will fuck your life up. Like 100%, not even a question. Like, there's so many things in my life that I could have, would have, should have had or done or achieved at this point that I haven't, because of my decision to go deep into that area. And I got involved with, like, you know, it wasn't just drugs too, it was like a whole lifestyle of longest stint in the big house, 8 months. I've done about 13 months total. I've been locked up about 13 months of my whole life. That thing I just told you about in Louisiana, I only ended up doing like a few days or a day over that. But that was the first felony I ever caught, and that would be the start of, that would be like the beginning of the end, basically, for my causing trouble and catching charges and stuff like that. But yeah, but around I didn't actually do any like time like weeks and months until I was like, until probably like 2013. And so at that point, I think I did 7 months, got out, got with the same girl I was with, and kept doing stupid shit just in a different area. And I ended up doing 5 months in Louisiana, just in a jail, in a county jail. And then I did, finally, the last stint I did in prison was 6 months. I did that in 2017. And it's all for stupid, like, shit, like drug possession charges, or getting or shoplifting while you're on the stuff. You know, it's all bad. Like, I only talk about it because I'm not proud of any of that stuff, but I'll absolutely, like, tell anybody that wants to hear about it, because if like my story can help somebody else not fuck their life up, I think it's a good thing to, like, give them my experience so they can just know. Like, it's not, you know, it ain't cool, it sucks. Like, if you ever find yourself in a place like that in life, you have to, like, figure out how to get yourself out. And because you'll realize in that you'll realize it's not sustainable, and you can't keep living like that, so you have to. But that was me experimenting with the stuff and not wanting to leave it at just an experiment. Because, you know what, I like, once I got a taste of it, I was like, well, I need this in my life. And if it's something like a drug where you think you need to be taking it every day, it alters who you are and how you think. And I can tell you that like when I'm on those things, when I'm out there high and on all that shit, nobody likes me. Like my family doesn't like me, nobody likes me. Ran to jail like a tight ship, turn up the sports channel and throw on that Mario Kart. Damn right. Oh yeah, they knew what time it was. Mario Kart's on the TV every night, 8 p.m. to lights out. Nah, they had, I mean, it was a while back when I was there, but they got TVs and cable but there's no computers, there's no internet, there's no video games. Like, it's weird. It's really strange, but if you ever find yourself in prison, that's one of the things you will really miss is video games, because it's one of them things where like they've got TV in there, because of course they do, because it's, you know, it's fucking television. They've got televisions in prisons everywhere to keep the inmates occupied, but like video games are a different thing because they would require some sort of tech support to keep that running properly. They wouldn't be able to, like, because you can't give them anything valuable, or they'll tear it apart and make a tattoo gun out of it. So the games would have to be locked down. Can't have any physical copies. But yeah, man, it's all you do in there is read. I got more reading done than I actually got to read this physics book called The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene. And it was one of the only like highbrow big brain, you could say, books that were in there. Like it was, you know, one of the few like science books that had like lots of detailed science data in it. And I read that book cover to cover like 7 times. And as a result, got a pretty good grounding for modern physics. Like I can explain relativity and quantum mechanics to you and tell you how gravity works and how all the forces of nature interact. I think this is the only one we haven't done. Nah, but jail is terrible. Like everybody in there there's so many dumb people in there. It's really hard to be in there if you're like halfway intelligent. It's not fun. You got some of just the dumbest of the dumb, and what like the worst people that society has to offer are all in there. That's what's really hard about it. Is that if you're not one of those people, you'll have an okay time if you know how to handle yourself, but it's just not fun to be in there. It's all like the dumb people that don't appreciate stuff anyway. Like they don't, like, the little stuff in life goes over their head. Yeah, I really missed Ocarina of Time when I was in there. I found myself like really wanting to play that game specifically. It would have been great to have video games in there. Madden players. Yeah, exactly. Bunch of Madden players in there, man. Yeah, you'll find yourself like I'm kind of a small guy, you know? Like I'm not physically very large. And when you're in a situation like that, when you're in jail, like your physicality and your size is a lot more important than it is in regular life. Like a guy like me, if I wasn't smart, I'd be fucked. You have to have brains in there to survive. 'Cause when you're dealing with a bunch of stupid people, you have to be smart. You have to outsmart them, or just be smart enough to know how to handle yourself around them. Ah, you bastard. Whoops. No! Of course, man. Never can hold on to that damn lead. Wow. Ah! No! Man. It could have targeted Luigi. Damn it. Fuck. Console wars still be strong in the big house. Oh yeah, man. Bruh, yeah. Or if you're, I mean, you might be in there with some old heads, and it might be 16-bit console war. You might have to defend your choice of 16-bit system with one of these old school dudes. You know, you tell them that the Sega Genesis was not the winner of the console war. You gotta have some facts to back up your position. You gotta explain to him that the Super NES was technically superior with the 3.6 megahertz processor, you know, 16 kilobytes of RAM, you know what I mean? The Super Nintendo wasn't playing. I mean, that thing was stacked. I'm talking about, you know, 100,000 kilobytes of storage. You know, that thing's no joke. PlayStation versus Xbox. I'm trying to think. I got in a fight over like a milk one day. It wasn't like a real fight, but I remember this dude. It's like, I think he thought I like skipped him in line or something. I don't know. We got in an argument over some milk. I just remember he like threw his box of milk at me while I was taking a piss. What you saying about blast processing? I'm like, all I'm saying is that blast processing was a marketing gimmick. It's like, I mean, take it back, fool. Take it back. He's got me in a headlock. I'm like, all right, blast processing was the shit. Ah. Oh, I was actually a Sega kid. Like, I had a Genesis. I was the one defending the Genesis. Thought you had a vitamin D deficiency. Oh. Bruh. Here. What is it? Thought I had a vitamin D deficiency. All right. Love bug. I'm gonna have to get off here in a second. I think you're kind of the only one. You might be the only one, at least in the chat. I have got to go actually help my girl at her office here in a little bit. So I've got to go to work. She runs a 7-Eleven, and her employees like never show up for work. So I go there and do the job that her employees are supposed to be doing, so that she can like manage her store for another week. You don't want to get in retail management, by the way. That job sucks. Had the Genesis, but that was in '98. So, yeah, I mean, if you... Yeah, like, I remember giving my homeboy, like, my best friend, the one who I would have the arguments about the 16-bit with, my friend who owned a Super Nintendo... I gave him my Genesis when we were older. I just gave it to him. I'm like, here, man. I don't play this anymore. You know, thought you always liked it. And it was like, that was my way of like admitting defeat. That like, hey, I don't play this anymore. You can have my Genesis. I shouldn't have given it to him though. But I think I was gonna like, I was literally gonna just donate it or something. At one point, I wasn't, even though I loved my Genesis and loved my memories with that, I was like, I don't know why, but at some point I was just like, okay with getting rid of all my consoles because I wasn't playing them anymore. Even though as a kid I knew, like, hey, I'm gonna have a giant video game collection from the 90s when I grow up. Like, this is gonna be awesome. I don't know why, I just gave them away. But I got back into video games so hard now that like I'll be loving games the rest of my life. I know that now. This is weird that I kind of defected at one point as a kid. I was like, oh, I'm done with video games. I wasn't. Hell yeah, boy! I am gonna go clean the slushy machine, dude. Probably put my head under it while I'm, you know, under the Coke machine. Thought you grow out of it. Yeah, exactly, Green. Yeah, I did think that when I was a kid. I was like, oh yeah, these. But like deep down, I knew it was wrong for me to give my Genesis away. Back then, I was like, I didn't feel right doing it, but I'd already like said he could have it, so you know, I just gave it to him. But I remember thinking like, okay, kind of hurt me to give that away. And now I know that I just shouldn't have turned my back on video games. You know, like obviously they've given us all so much. Green, would you be down for like Majora's Mask later this afternoon, or are you? I don't know what you guys' schedule is. I'll be indisposed for the next like 5 hours at the 7-Eleven. But I'll be back this evening, chilling if anybody's down to hang out. And I appreciate you guys talking with me about all kinds of shit this morning. Contact him now and ask him for yeah, I can text his bitch ass right now and be like, hey, where's my Sega Genesis at, fool? But I don't think he's got it. I think he gave it away. You'd be at work by then. Well, everybody, I appreciate you for kicking it with me this morning. It's gonna be a great October, y'all. You guys have an awesome day wherever you're at, and you know, be kind. No, I don't know what I'm